Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, everybody, Charles here, and welcome to the show. Now, is it your first time here? Welcome. We are going live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So tell a friend the show is now live, and I got a fantastic guest. She's been giving me jokes before the show even started, all right? So I want you to look, listen, and have some fun. It's all about just enjoying life. And I think my next guest is going to do that for us today. When you have a guest that comes in and brings in the energy and brings in the spirit, well, let's go. Let's do it. Let's welcome to the show. I'm going to call her the Energizer Bunny. Let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, how you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm so glad that you could join us today.
You done got me so discombobulated, I forgot to take the mute off. Messing around with you.
Hey, this is what I love about going live. It's just the realness. It's just the fun, not scripted.
And this is 100 right here. 100.
This is what my audience loves. They want to know the real you. They want to know,
yes.
Who is Ms V. They want to know who you really are. So first of all, again, thanks for joining us. And where are you calling in from? What location?
I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. The beach. Yeah.
Okay. So give us some background on you. Who you are, where you're from, born and raised. Let's go.
Born and raised in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I've been here all my life, but I've traveled outside and it's a beautiful thing, but I love the beach. I am someone who has gained their voice back. I used to not talk for 23 years. No, for 18 years. I lost my voice and I got it back. And let me tell y'all, I got my voice back and I am running with it. I am using it to say what I want, when, where, and how, all of it. Yes, I am. I'm a storyteller. I tell stories. And I'm just a fun-loving comedic type of person. You heard me. I'm just a nutball, but I am so happy. I'm such a different person than I was. And let me tell you, God is good.
So let's backtrack then. The little girl in you. What was the little girl doing then?
Well, at 6, I decided to stop talking. It was some family dynamics going on in my home. And I just decided, if I don't talk, I won't get in trouble. And I was the fluffy child. I came along and somebody had a sense of humor and I came in the world fluffy. So I had, a whole lot going on as a little girl that I went through and I lost my voice. I just, from everything that was going on in my home, I just didn't feel like I had a voice. So I just stopped talking. I just wouldn't talk only if I had to.
Well,
and
sorry, but that's what let's clarify. When you say you lost your voice, what do you mean? Like your tonsils got ripped out? Like
no, it
what do you
wasn't.
mean lost your voice?
It wasn't a medical, it was a mental decision to just physically just stop talking and you won't get in trouble. It got so bad in my home that my father had my mother to get my ears checked because he just assumed that I couldn't hear. And the morning that I was supposed to go to the doctor, my father called me and told me if nothing was wrong with my ears, he was going to beat my ass. I went to that doctor's appointment and didn't hear a thing. I was not a dumb child. I was smart. I didn't hear nothing. She gave my mom some medicine and brought me home. I made sure my dad saw that bottle of medicine. I was like, see, I could hear great, but I was just so sick of him yelling all the time. I'm like, listen, dude, But I saved my butt that night. So yeah.
So what was he yelling about? What was his frustration? Like, people would say, well, she was probably a bad kid or I was getting in trouble. Like, what was it all about?
No, it had nothing to do with me. My father, he got that, honestly. He got it from his father. My grandfather was a yeller. That's the way that he communicated. But he never yelled at us, me and my siblings, because we were the only grandchildren that called him granddaddy. Everyone else called him Big Apple. And my mom was like, you're going to respect him. And he loved us. He gave us money every time. My grandfather, every time he saw us, he gave us money. And I mean, he never yelled at us, but he yelled at everyone else. And my dad, that was the way that he talked. He yelled. He was
Mm.
a fusser. And, I guess I was a shy child. And I don't think that my parents really understood me. But, it was just so much going on. It was just easier to be quiet.
See, I see. And most people, when they say shut down, they start shutting down
Mhm.
because they hear things and don't know. So now we understand shutting down. And age, you said age of 6.
Yes, it was 6.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
age of 6, you're in not even in middle school yet.
No.
And as you trans into middle school, that's when things start happening, friends, new things, but you're
Oh,
still quiet.
it was horrible because by that time my parents were separated.
No,
And
that
now
that's
my
the next
mom was a
level.
single mom. So
Okay.
now things were is at a whole different level. And you try being chubby and not talking, you will get your tail toe up. I didn't get beat up, but I got I got abused a whole lot of ways. You try it. It is not it's not easy walking around being chubby and not talking. People, I was called mute. I was joked a lot. I'm walking in the hall, people would walk by and push me. People would talk over me as if what I had to say wasn't important. And I started to believe that. So what was the point of talking? People were mean in middle school. Listen, y'all, they some mean children. I used to work in the middle school. Those kids, they are mean.
kids don't kids don't hold nothing back.
They don't hold anything back.
There's no filter on a kid.
I'm
So it's
telling you,
like,
I stayed kids turn into baby kids. If anybody know what a baby kids is in middle school, that's what they turn into. And then they transition out of baby kids into something else when they get into high school.
okay, see, now I'm writing this down. Baby kids, because I'm
You
gonna
gotta
put it.
look it up,
No,
baby kids.
I know what a baby kid is. You know what I'm gonna do for the podcast? I'm gonna put the picture in the description so people can understand what a baby kid is. I'm putting a highlight there. I'm gonna put a picture so they understand. All
Right?
right, there we go.
I'm sorry. See, this is what happened. You done brought out the comedian in me. I'm trying to help these people get their voice back there. Let's stay on. Let's stay focused.
All right, back on track. Back on track. All right. So mute as a little one.
I wasn't mute. That's what they call me. Now, see, you bring it up some healing, some feelings I got healed over. Don't be going
Because
back
here,
there.
because listen to the thing though.
Okay, I'm listening.
Growing back, and black families, they that's what we think off the bat. Oh, she must be mute. Like, we don't think of, okay, maybe it's something else. It's not medical, it's not mute, but hey, maybe, has anybody sat down with this little girl and said, what's the matter? Did anybody sit you down and go, baby girl, are you okay? What's the matter?
No, because you have to think parents don't know how to deal with things like that. If they're not psychologists or anything like that, most black parents, they don't know how to deal with something like that. So in my father's case, he's thinking something wrong with my ears. But I'll tell you this, over time, my father, he kind of got an idea because I became master at ignoring people. I could look right at you and not hear a word you were saying. And he got that. And then he got to the point where he started making me repeat back what he said,
Mm-hmm.
because he was realized, it's nothing wrong with her because when she's around certain people, she'll talk. But when she's around me, she doesn't say anything.
Mm.
He started to feel it, but it was him. It was him and the things that was going on in my world. And it was my safe haven. If you don't say anything, you won't get in trouble. In school, everywhere. Just don't talk.
So now you're transitioning to high school. Okay.
That's why I got bullied. Whew. Lord have
Okay.
mercy.
So and I always ask this question to everybody. Then that means you didn't really think about who the little girl in you wanted to be. Because to me, you were just thinking about being safe, being quiet. So did you even think about your dreams? Did you even think about what you want to become in life at those ages?
I did. I had, aspirations. I wanted to be a hairdresser. I went to
Okay.
school for it and I became that. My great grandfather, he owned several businesses. I wanted to be a business owner, but this was all internal things that I had it within me. I never stopped dreaming. I just felt like what I had to say wasn't important. I had no self-esteem. So I stayed in my world. It was my world. I was quiet. I played pretend. I was a loner. But inside my head, I always had dreams and aspirations. Ooh, you're going to be this, you're going to do that. I didn't know how, but I just kept it inside of me. I was like, you're going to be something. And I told myself different things, but I never said it to anyone else because, I didn't feel like anybody would believe me or anybody would back me up. I had like certain people that came in my life, like my auntie. I love her. My auntie was blind. I spent a lot of time with her, and I could be myself around her. No judgment or anything. She loved me for me. So I think God put people in my life to help me and to allow me to be able to be myself. But it was never my family, you know. Anyway, yeah, it wasn't really my family. It wasn't until later in life.
Hmm. So then you're going to high school now, and trust me, high school, you know, that's a different beast right there. Because
Yeah.
now you got to gain your clique, you got to gain your focus, your group. Where do you belong? Who's your followers? How do you transition?
Well, the good thing about high school for me, it was a negative and a positive. Um, I started to go to. I only went to school half day. The other half day, I went to school for cosmetology.
Oh, okay.
So during that time, I was doing something that I love. I was learning how to do hair, so that was great. But at regular school, it was hell. That's where I started to get physically bullied, pushed
Hmm.
into locker. Oh my God, it was horrible. I hated school, hated it, but I didn't mind going to school for cosmetology because I was doing something that I love. So, every day I look forward. Okay, I can't wait. I'm getting out of this building. I'm going to a different building.
So the first 4 hours is hell,
Hmm.
and then the last 4 hours, you're like, all right, this is my world. This is what I love doing. This is where I can shine. This is me. I can
Yeah,
do me.
pretty much. I had issues there as well because again, I wasn't talking, but I was a little bit more of who I really was because I was doing something that I love. So when you're doing something that you love, it can bring things out of you that you kind of, in my case, try to protect myself. But I
Hmm.
was I let my guard down a little bit. I had customers come in and I would talk to them and some of my teachers, we got along well. So it was a positive more so than a negative because at high school, woo, Lord, those children were beast.
So then when did you speak? When did you speak up? When did you start cracking that glass window and said, "Wait a minute, you know something? No more. No, no, no. I got a voice and I'm going to use it."
Well, I became a Christian. When I got saved, I became a Christian and I was 23. And one day I had it. I was tired of being abused, people talking across me, people being mean to me. I had it. I mean, I was done. And I got on my knees and I prayed and I was like, Lord, I need you to give me my voice back. I need to start speaking up for myself because I am tired of being hurt. I'm tired of people mistreating me. I'm tired of always walking around with my head down. And God honored that. He gave me my voice back. But listen, y'all, you have to be careful when you pray because when I got my voice back, I listen, this became a lethal weapon. My tongue, I went from not talking to cussing people out. I was going to get you before you got me. I mean, I was walking around in sheer pain and hurt because all of those years of being hurt, I'm like, this is a new day. I wish you would come on. I got you. And then,
I,
and then,
See, my first question was going to be, but you answered it already because I'm going to do a part two then to this question. My first question was going to be, who felt the wrath? Who did you say, "Oh, I can speak"? Who did you go to and go, you just had to let it all out?
it wasn't that I went to anybody, but if anybody came to me, because you have to realize when you don't talk, people get used to that you. So when
Mm,
you get your voice back and they come to you that same way that they've been coming to you because they're not used to you saying anything. So they're going to come at you. And
right.
when I was like, oh, wait a minute. Hey, who you
Mm-mm.
talking to? Come on. Who are you talking to? And that's where every time somebody would come at me, they was like, oh Lord, who is this? They knew I was a Christian. I had given my life over to God, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't expect that, nor did I.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let me, you one more time. And then I start cussing people out. Who that? And yes, I did. I honestly did. But I am so grateful to God because one day I was at a game. I will
Mm-hmm.
never forget it. I was sitting at a game, a football game, and I heard myself. I heard who I had turned into, and I had turned into the people who had hurt me and mistreated me. I was now one of them. I was a bully. I was hurting people's feelings. I was cussing people out. I was joking people. I was talking about people. All those things that were done to me, I had now done to other people. So I went back down on my knees and I prayed. I was like, Lord, I need a happy medium. I need you to help me to not use my tongue to hurt people, not use my voice to hurt people. Help me to uplift them. Even though they may have hurt me, I want to be able to love them regardless. I want to be able to forgive them. And honestly, to this day, I'm not 50-50. I'm about a good, strong
I knew. Listen,
65-ish, something like
I was
that.
waiting for that. Come on
Yeah,
now.
no, honestly, because if you catch me on a bad day, it's like anybody. If you catch him on a bad shoot, if you catch Jesus on a bad day, you don't know what's gonna come out. It's like we're all human. We are not perfect. So you catch me on a bad day, I'm not gonna say I would cuss you out,
I was
but
like,
I
all
would be
right,
like,
come on
slow your
now.
roll. You coming at the wrong one. I have my voice back now. Go ahead,
I was
Charles. I'm
like,
sorry.
okay, I gotta keep this real. I gotta keep this real. That's over 15 years of keeping quiet. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, you go 15, 16, 18 years of not talking. And when you get your voice back and you hear yourself, you're like, oh, wait, I like the way this feel. Instead of being hurt, hurt, you're like, I like this. But now, I am grateful that I'm not as bad as I was. I really am. And I try to use my words to encourage people, to lift people up, to help people. I try not to be her. And it's so hard sometimes because for me, depending on the situation, sometimes it's easy for me to go back to not talking. I mean, that
Hmm.
was with me for so long, but then it's also easy for me to go to the other person. If I'm hit the wrong way, it's easy for me to go back. So I have internal dialogues that I tell myself, things that I tell myself to help me not to go in either one of those directions, to try to be more centered.
All right, so let's find out a little bit more about you, the center, and your feelings. Let's go. It's time for rapid fire. What I need you to do is give me A, B, C, or D. You're going to get 2 minutes on the clock, and you have to answer these questions within the 2 minutes. And I'm just going to rapid fire these questions at you. You can explain a little bit if you want, but do remember the clock is running. So time is going. So it's up to you. So give me A, B, C, or D.
C.
C. All right, here we go. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. I'm going to put the music on. When the 2 minutes starts, you're going to get your first question. Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
First question: what is success to you?
Success, happiness, joy.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset in Hawaii.
Favorite color?
Purple, royalty. Purple.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. Oh my God.
What's
Yes.
your, what's your favorite food?
Uh, Italian.
What's your favorite dessert?
Cookies.
What's the first thing you notice about someone when you first meet them for the first time?
Eyes.
What's your best fashion advice?
Look in the mirror. No, get some real friends to tell you when you look a hot mess. Because sometimes y'all look in the mirror and you walk out the door, and when I see you, I'm like, dog, she don't have no friends. He don't have no friends. So get some real honest friends to look you over before you leave the house. Next.
All right. Favorite TV show?
Um, Favorite TV show. Anything that has a murder mystery in it. I love solving mysteries. So
All
murder
right.
mysteries.
47 seconds left. Last question. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Um, oh, you have pretty eyes.
There
That
you
was
go.
really nice because they looked beyond the fluffiness and he actually saw my face. He was like, "Oh, your eyes are so pretty." It's like, "Thank you, boo."
You made you made it through rapid fire. I'm,
I'm a
I can't.
storyteller, so I'm
I
always
can't.
on a timer. So,
Oh,
I'm used to that.
oh, I can't. I can't. I can't. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Why fluffiness? Why use that word?
I hate fat. I mean, oh my God, I think it's so negative. I don't care how you spell it. PHATFAT is still fat. I like fluffy because when I say fluffy, look at you laughing because it makes you happy. When you see something fluffy, you just smile. When you see fat, you get judgment and you say all that negative stuff. So I am fluffy, fabulous, and beautiful.
There you go. There
I
you
think
go.
that's right.
So let's lead right into the beautiful aspect of it. Let's talk about this beautiful book of yours. You're an author.
Yes.
Let's
I
get into that, okay? Right there. Living the key of joy. Explain
living
that.
in the key of joy. So a friend of mine, oh my God, her name is Gail Clanton. She wanted to do a book of positivity. So there's a group of us ladies, and we all wrote personal stories. And I wrote the personal story about me losing my voice. And I wanted to write that story because I wanted people to know that even right now, if you made a choice not to talk, or if you feel like what you have to say is not important, there is someone who's been through what you have. And look at me now. I am talking, I am using my voice for good. And I wanted the reader to get that. When they read at the end, I even tell about, the fire in my tongue. I tell about that because when you lose your voice and you get it back, people think, she's such a lovely night. No, you're talking in hurt. You've been hurt. People have mistreated you because you wouldn't have made it the choice not to talk if something hadn't happened to you. And so I want people to be inspired to know that you have a voice. What you have to say is important. If it's not important to other people, it's important to you. So say what you want to say. They have a right to leave. It's just like when you watch a TV and you look at TV, it's a TV show that come on you don't like, you take the channel, you turn. If it's somebody that you don't want to talk to on the phone, you either lie or my cell phone is dying and you get off the
Hello?
phone with them because you don't want to hear it.
Hello? Are
Right.
you there?
Hello. Oh yeah, I can't hear. Oh, I'm
Hello?
going through the tunnel.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Hello? Bad connection. All right, I'll call you back.
Exactly. So if somebody doesn't want to hear what you have to say, they have a right to walk away because you do the same. But there are thousands of other people that want to hear what you have to say. So say it.
There you go. So where can we get this book?
You can email me if you want a signed copy, and I will make sure you get it. Or it's also on Amazon. But listen, y'all, I'm gonna be 100. I don't get no money. I don't get how to get money from Amazon. So listen, go to that website, email me, and I'm gonna send you a book. I'm gonna get it signed.
There you go. Do it straight. Do it there.
I told
Now,
you 100.
now I usually leave this to the end, but because you have a voice now, you using your voice and you got a podcast.
Mhm.
Explain that from a person that don't say nothing.
Well, it is so funny because God told me that that's what He wanted me to do. He said, I want you to be a storyteller. Because I've always written, I've always been very visual, and even in my dreams, because I've written books, they're not published yet because it's not the right timing. I believe in doing things in the right timing.
Right.
So I've written books, and God has given me like 5 books. I've written one, the second one is almost done. And he was like, I want you to use your voice. I want you to help people to get their voice back.
Hmm.
So during the pandemic, God was like, podcast. So what I did as My podcast is full of personal stories. You will see my struggles. You're here. They're humorous because, as you can see, I'm a nutball. I can't help it. When God gave me my voice back, He also gave me joy, and He helped me to use humor to reach people and stories. So on my podcast, I have all these stories out. But then here lately, God is like, I want you to have people on the show to talk about the stories. That's why He had me to build a library. He wanted people to go and, find a story that they wanted to talk about. And then we talk about the stories, and you learn so much from other people because they have their experience and
Yes.
they look at yours, and then they're able to tell us about their experiences.
How it matches. And this is one of the reasons I love guests like you coming on the show, because everybody's story, someone else has a similar story and they're like, "Oh, that's me."
And
That's
that
that's
is
yeah.
what connects us. That helps us to connect. And once we connect, then I can talk to you, you can talk to me, and it's like a door that's open. It's like a story is something that draws people in. Everybody, we tell stories all day, every day. When we're talking to someone on the phone, whatever, we always sharing story. And I think they're so important to us.
Right. Because at the end of the day, your truth and your story will let someone else be free.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the main thing why we do this show, is the backstories. So, if you want more information, please do send her an email, get the book, or just reach out and say, "Listen, I love your story. You've helped me out. You know, this is what I
If
need
you
you to
want to
do."
come, if you want to come on my podcast, just read one of the stories and say, "Hey, Ms V, I want to talk to you about this particular story," and I will hook it up, and we will just go and do it live. Well, not live because I'm not like you. I'm not a professional like you. So we will record this thing, and then I will post the episode. So just email me if you go on my podcast and you want to talk about a particular story. We can do that.
All right, I think it's time for the next fun. Let's go. Here we go.
Oh,
Now time for Pick 3!
It's now time for pick three. You're going to pick three questions to answer to yourself before we let you go. You pick your own questions. I need you to pick three numbers between 1 and 13. 1 and
12,
13.
12.
12. What
Yes.
else? Three of them.
6 and 2.
12, 6, and 2. Here we go. First question. What are three movies you recommend to your audience and why?
Okay. What's that movie called? Do I have time on this? Because I need to think. You give a sister any kind of warning about this. Lord help me. A good movie. Um,
You can give me just one if you want to.
okay, because see, man, I need to throw a sister off. I just saw a good movie. Um, Good movie. Oh, no, y'all gonna joke me if I say this movie. Never mind.
Go ahead.
We're gonna circle back to that question. Go to the next. We can circle back because the sister
All
can't
right,
think.
hold
When
on.
it come to me, I'm gonna write it down. Go ahead. Go,
Hold on.
go, go.
Wait, yeah. We're gonna come back. But what movie popped in your head? I gotta know. What movie did
Uh-uh.
you?
You would not joke me. Oh no. No, sir, me buddy.
Come on now. What movie popped in your head? We're gonna just let it. What is it? Come on.
Uh-uh. Because I love old movies, okay?
Okay.
Sherrod. I love that movie. It has Audrey Hepburn. I love that movie because Tiffany's. I love old movies, and that's why I'm trying to think of something more relevant because I love Casablanca. I
Mm-hmm.
love old movies. So, I love romantic stories of love and all that. I do. I love Casablanca. Y'all gonna joke, cause sister.
There you go. And if you don't know, I'll put the link in the description for that one as well. There you go.
Yeah, it's charade, whatever you call it is.
All right. Question number 2. Who are the three people have been most influential in your life to you?
Okay. Her name is Sheila Arnold. She was my mentor when I became a storyteller. Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes. Oh my God, I love her. She is a mentor. I don't know personally, but I follow her. She is the creator of Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and all those shows. She is an awesome writer. And the way that her TV shows is the way that I write in my head when I'm writing. And also, and I'm going to say his name wrong, but I'm doing my best. His name is Lynn Morel. He is the creator of Hamilton. Lynn, oh God, I can't think of it. Anyway, the person who wrote the play Hamilton. I love him. I love these because they're so, I love the fact that they are people of color. And I love the fact that they are so creative. I love them.
So it sounds like the creativity to get your story out there is what you're looking for. You love things
Yes.
that can get a story out there that keeps people engaged
Engage.
and
Yes.
tell people their story.
Yeah, because I mean, who wants to listen to a boring person? When you go to class in college, you see the professors. It's like watching paint dry. It's like, come on, man, crack a joke, do something. You nobody, nobody, and then you fall asleep, and then he want to get an attitude. I fell asleep because you're boring. I need, you know what I'm saying? I just, I like to make people laugh, and I like to keep people engaged
Listen,
and make people feel
my
good.
best teachers, people that got me engaged, would engage with me. Tell me a joke, say something, let me know. They
Yeah.
ask me questions so you know that I'm engaged with you. So understand that 110%. All right, last question. What is the biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
My biggest, I guess, my biggest failure was going so long without talking. I feel like if I had my voice back, that I probably would not have gone through a lot of the things that I went through. I think that me not talking for so long, I missed opportunities. I missed out on having connections with people. I missed out on a lot. But I also know that when you go through stuff, it helps you to grow and become a better person. And now if I were a talker, I wouldn't have this podcast. I wouldn't be on your show because I would have had my voice. I wouldn't have the stories and all that. So I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, it was bad and it hurt and all that I went through it. But now I have a platform to use to help other people.
All right, last two. These are bonus questions.
Mm,
When you go back in time, all right, there you go. I just gave you some magic dust.
okay.
You can go back to the little 6-year-old you. What would you tell her? You have your
Oh,
voice. What would you tell her?
I would tell her, girl, talk. Don't let those people make you lose your voice. Your daddy is a fusser. He gonna be all right. You know, if you have to talk, go back, close the door and lay him out. I'm sick of you yelling at me. Cause you know, don't be stupid, you know, because he'll knock you into another word if you actually said it to him. But girl, open your mouth. What you have to say is important. Speak up.
Yeah, I tell everybody you have a voice. God gave you a voice. Use it.
Use it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. Last thing. Before you leave this earth, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember you by?
I want them to remember, most importantly, to speak up for yourself in every situation. Always speak up for yourself. I want people to remember that stories are important. Share stories. Even parents, you need to tell your children stories about when you were a child. My parents didn't do a lot of that. So we struggled as people of color. There were things that we encountered that, had our parents talked to us about it, maybe we would have handled it differently, because you know, people of color, parents, they don't always share like they should. So tell your children stories. The Bible is full of stories. We read stories to children when they are younger, but tell them about you. Help them to learn about you. Parents and people in general, share your story. Tell people who you are.
110%. Listen, this is a fantastic show. I know a lot of people are going to get some information from it and learn from it because there are some quiet people out there and they're like, you know something? They needed that today. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for joining us. And one more time, tell us, when is your podcast on, that we can catch it, where we can catch your podcast?
Okay. You can catch my podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google. You can also Anchor. And I just added Amazon Music to it. My shows are posted on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some of them are stories, and then some of them are interviews that I've done with people. So, and if you want to be on the show, you want to talk about a story, just send me an email and we'll set it up and we'll talk about that story.
There you go. There you go. There you go. It's your voice. Use it. Ladies and gentlemen, like I always say, you didn't have to watch, you didn't have to listen, but I'm glad that you did. Do me a favor. Pick up the phone, use your voice, and call someone today and tell them you love them. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking help or advice are encouraged to obtain professional legal and medical services.